Have you ever felt like you lost your voice? If so, and you gained it back, you definitely want to stick around for this episode where one of our authors in this book, Finding Your Purpose, Living on Purpose Rather Than Accident, she shares her story of losing her voice and then re-finding her voice. So let's welcome to the stage Renee Reisch. She's one of our authors in this book. Renee, it's so good to see you and excited to talk to you because I've known you now for 4 or 5 years, something like that. And just knowing your story, it's so impactful about you losing your voice. So before we dive into everything about Renee, I want to find out, like, how did you lose your voice, and then how did you refind it?
Great question. First and foremost, Linda, thank you so much for having me here. It really is an honor and a pleasure to be here with you and share our voices together. So,
Yes,
to answer
definitely.
your question, how did I lose it? Often in life we say that, you feel like you're losing your voice, and we physically lose it or we metaphorically lose it. I lost it both ways. I lost it metaphorically because I was running around taking care of everybody else but that gal looking back at me in the mirror. And I ended up losing it physically. It manifested into my physical well-being, which ended up being so great. So it was, the Christmas holiday season in retail. And if anybody's gone into a store during that time of year, it's kind of hectic. And I was taking care of multi-million-dollar teams and departments and in charge of corporate initiatives and a lot of stuff. And all that stuff literally weighed down on me and on my body. And I just ended up burning the candle at both ends, literally, and wasn't getting much sleep, wasn't taking care of me. There was no self-care, no self-love. And just everybody else was first and foremost on my plate. And I ended up getting very sick with sores all over my vocal cords where I couldn't swallow, I couldn't eat, I couldn't drink. And I was in a very bad space. So I was taken out from my corporate America job for about 4 months. And it was an LOA, which was a leave of absence. Today, LOA has a different connotation, meaning law of attraction. And it's much different and much better because what we put out, we attract back. And so losing my voice, I actually believe it began the journey of finding my voice and now being able to help others find theirs.
Wow, Renee, and your story, because you literally did lose your voice. Like, I feel like I never had a voice until I found my voice, but I still had my voice. And I just can't imagine not being able to speak or to sing, because I love singing. So I can't imagine being there. But there was something you mentioned there. You mentioned two things that I want to really jump into. And this was self-care and self-love. And so, like, let's talk about that a little bit, because self-care is something that a lot of us have to learn how to do. We grow up in environments where self-care is not the number one thing, where self-love is not the number one thing. And so later in life, maybe we learn how to do it or maybe we don't. So how did you learn how to have, self-care and self-love?
Oh, Linda, it took a hot minute. And there's sometimes I still have the opportunity to do that because I'm an empath and I really like to give to others. So sometimes I've got to think and say, okay, you're falling back into your old behaviors. So it's really something that I had to learn. And it was talk about learning things the hard way. It was a very difficult lesson because, like I said, losing my voice wasn't just that I didn't have a voice. And Linda, you know me so well. We say we're like doppelgangers. I was literally taken out of the public. I was told as I was in the ER, you're no longer allowed to be with the public. So not just not
Mm.
having a voice, I was contagious. I was in my own muck of hell that I couldn't even swallow. And I was isolated. So it was like, what am I going to do? I couldn't even say, what am I going to do? I didn't know. Doctors, Western medicine had no cure. I wish they could have said, take two and call me in the morning. It's like,
Right.
they kept telling me to go for more blood work. And it was like 20 vials of blood before they still didn't get the answer. They just like threw up their hands and it was like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And they literally had no answer. I honestly can tell you, I do believe it was losing my voice that did begin that journey because I had to stay in my own stuff, to start healing. And it was being quiet. And I'm not going to say I went within, I did journaling. I did none of it. I wasn't spiritual. I didn't know from that. I literally just sat in my muck of hell for a long time. And I I didn't know what I was going to do. Thank God I had my best friend with me at the time. She's watching over me from heaven with my father right now. And she would come to my place with a mask on pre-COVID. You know, this is like 2013, I'm talking. Nobody knew what was coming. And she would deliver foods that she thought I could swallow or eat. And, you know, and help me out in any way that she could. But it was really just being quiet and just being. I was never being. I was always doing and going and here and there and this and that and but you know, the next thing, and never giving myself that love or that care or paying attention to me. It was always outside of me.
So would you say that that friend then, her being there for you was part of the, like the catalyst of change, of recognizing that you need to take care of yourself as well? Like somebody showing you how they were taking care of you, that taught you how to take care of you?
Mm. You know, Linda, nobody's ever asked me that before. That really is a great question. You know, lead by example, right? She was and always will be a great example in my life for in so many ways of things that she showed me and passed to my purpose. So I really do believe that she did show me, because you know, when somebody cares more for you than you care for yourself, there's an issue there, right? It's like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
you know, somebody's showing me more of the love and more of the care than I'm giving to myself. And she used to yell at me in a very loving way and say, slow down, because she saw that I was headed on a really, really dangerous path, a dangerous road. And I said, no, I have to do this. I have to do that. This is do that. You know, I have to take care of all these other things for my job to get done.
Yeah.
And, you know, if I slept 3 hours, 4 hours, that was okay. If I, you know, had dinner in 15 minutes and rushed through it so I could finish what I was doing, that was okay. But it never was okay, because I wasn't
Yeah.
okay.
You're speaking my language.
I know. I know.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Running, burning the candle at both ends, like, and all that stuff. And, I remember so many years I had two jobs because, money was something that I wasn't really very good at handling. And so I had to have two jobs to support me and the two children. I was a single mom for a while, and I would work literally sleep 3 hours a night. And I was like, that's all I need is 3 hours.
Mm.
That was my thought. Just like you said, fortunately, I didn't lose my voice, but I lost a lot of, dignity. I lost a lot of, discovering like what that was all about, is to take care of myself. And I learned to take care of others. That's what my mom taught me. And that's how I learned. So we're talking to Renee Reisch. She is in our book, let me put it up on the screen here. In the book, Finding Your Purpose, Living on Purpose Rather Than on Accident, talking
Mm.
about her story of finding her own voice after she literally lost her voice. So Renee, this is, it's just a fascinating story of what you went through and how you came out of that. And before we go further, I just want to let you know you can connect with Renee on her link tree. So that's linktr.ee/Renee Reisch, RENEEREISCH. And then also let's talk about your free gift, because I want to talk about the book, of course, but I want to make sure we get these things in here, because you do have a free gift, 10 steps to finding your voice, which you can all get a copy of that at actiontakerspublishing.com/purpose. There's Renee's free gift, plus free gifts from a lot of the other authors as well. So go cash in on those. Renee, tell us don't tell us what the 10 steps are, but how is this going to help me? Like, I haven't lost my voice, but how is this going to help me to find my voice?
You know, Linda, like I said earlier, we lose it in so many ways. Mine was the physical, mental, and emotional. It came in a trifecta. It really helps you go within. And so often we are living externally rather than within, rather than internally. And this will help you write down and give you prompts to, express. The voice is all about expression, whether it's vocal or in writing. There's so many ways that people express their emotions and their feelings. And it really invites you to take a deeper dive inside and express things that are going on. And then you can kind of peel back the layers of the onion along your own journey of finding your voice.
I love that. I love it. So again, go cash in on that at actiontakerspublishing.com/purpose. And there was something you just said, 'cause you mentioned about, some people use journaling, some people use, we use speaking. We have different ways that we communicate, that we share our voice. So whether it is the written voice or the spoken voice, maybe it's the acting type of voice. Like, remember back in the old, well, not that we remember this because we weren't alive then, but back
Right.
in the old days when the movies, like, there was no voices, it was all just acting. But
Right.
that was a way, like a way of expressing our voices. So I'm curious from you, Renee, because you said like you weren't a journaler. I also am not a journaler. Like, that's not something that I do. I'm learning to enjoy the process of writing, but I would much rather speak. And so I'm curious your thoughts on this. What do you see? Maybe not as the difference, but what do you see as the value of writing your voice versus actually speaking your voice?
Another great question. I actually
I
do.
know.
I, it is a great question. I actually do journal now. I have a journal that I write in. It's a gratitude journal. I actually physically write. There's one thing in writing on like a Word document, but physically writing things out. It's interesting. I call it the power of the pen because as I start writing, the thoughts actually just take over into the writing. And thoughts or things, it starts coming out. I'm like, oh my gosh, because I'm getting out of my thinking brain and into my heart center and start just really expressing my voice. So I think it's really a great tool. As a power of expression. There's, like you said, creative forms, whether you're a singer, an artist, a painter, there's so many ways we get to express. Speaking, I love speaking. And it's really that interaction. That's what I love, interacting with people. When you speak with them, you get to I do coaching and speaking. And it really is a means to an end to get to the bigger picture of what's going on inside, which you may not know. You need those prompts from people to pull things out of you that you didn't realize were hidden or suppressed for so many years.
Yeah, I was just thinking of something that happened. I think it was just yesterday that I was like, I have this new platform that I'm learning how to use. And so I'm in there and I'm, watching the videos and trainings and all this stuff. And I'm like, where's this thing? Because they say, go here, click this and all that. And I'm like, I can't find it anywhere. Right. And so then I message their help center and I show them a picture. I'm like, here's what's going on. And then the second I hit send, I found it.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And this is what happens. Like, a lot of times we answer our own questions by asking the question. And so
Yeah.
this is the power, like you said, the power of the pen or the power of let's use a word that starts with P that has to do with the voice. I don't know. I can't think of one. I'm going to have to come up with one, but just the power of us.
Power of your
sharing.
purpose.
The power of your purpose. There we go. Your passion, your purpose, right? The power of it. But just by sharing it and asking the questions, a lot of times the answers come to us. So Renee, what is your purpose? What is your purpose?
It's really threefold: to impact, inspire, and empower others, especially women across this planet, because so many, I know my story may seem unique to me, but as I speak and as I really serve others, it's not so unique. It may happen in a little tweak of a way, this way or that way, but even you said, you're like, oh my gosh, I can relate to how we are just in such service to other people, not realize that we've taken it off of ourselves and looking for the outside validation for the inner worth, or people pleasing, or overextending ourselves and saying yes when we really want to say no. As we know, the word no is a complete sentence. We don't often say it because we just want people to like us. But you know what? I also learned that the right people will not only like you, they will love you and they will support you along your journey. And that's what it's about.
I love that. That's so good. So we're talking about the book, Finding Your Purpose. Renee is one of the contributing authors to this book. My story is also in this one about finding my purpose. And you'll go get your copy at actiontakerspublishing.com/purpose. While you're over there, go get those free gifts from our authors, cash in on those as well. So Renee, gosh, time flies really fast when we're talking, for sure, because we both have so much to say, and it's all important. Every single word is very important. But I want you to share with the listeners today, like, what is one thing that you would like them to take away from reading this book, Finding Your Purpose?
Never give up. that was something that my best friend taught me. She had a bracelet, which I now have. It says never give up. And the minute you give up, so many times you want to just throw in the towel and just say, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. But that's when your biggest breakthrough is going to happen. Just stay with it. Reach out for support. I am here. I know what you're going through. Maybe not to the extent of what you've done, but listen, when you've had to sit in your own muck for 4 months, 24/7, and you can't speak and doctors can't help you, and you just want to unzip your skin and fly away and not even wake up the next morning, you actually know what it's like. So I do understand. And I am here, and it is just to not give up on yourself. Reach out. It's not a weakness. It is a strength. And the biggest strength you can have is to reach out. Asking for help is something I did. I needed to do. I didn't realize how much until I got the service and support that I needed from others. It wasn't necessarily a doctor, but it was in different ways that I did it. And I'm happy to support you in your journey of finding your voice, whatever that means to you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for being part of this, being part of my life, sharing your story in this book, and for all the other things we're going to be doing in the future. We never know what the future holds. And I'll share that I completely second everything Renee just said, because when we're in the darkness, we don't see the light. We just don't see the light until that pin light, that one little hole seeps through. And then we're like, okay, there is something else out there. Reaching out for help. This is one of our greatest strengths, as Renee said, as well as vulnerability, being vulnerable and saying, I need help. And then go find that help. There are so many people out there who can help you through these situations, but reach out to Renee. You'll find her on our website at actiontakerspublishing.com/purpose. Go download her free gift, have an opportunity to connect with her and see how she can help you to find your voice and to find your purpose. Renee, thanks so much for being part of this. Truly appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thank you. And I appreciate you as well. Thank you for the opportunity, Linda.
Thank you.
It's so powerful for those of you watching that maybe haven't, you've got the bug to write, but you're super scared. Collaboration books are an incredible place to start. And just to plug Action Takers a little bit, I don't know about other publishers. They're the only one I've ever worked with, but they've made it so easy. You literally write your chapter and send, and then it's all the work is done.
I know.
That's literally all you do.
And then you're connected with all these other amazing women who are like-minded.
Stories and journeys and yes,
they have made it so easy. So shout out to Linda and to Sally for just really creating this amazing space for us to use our voices.
Yes, I love it so much. That's amazing.